one's kind of
No,
straightforward.
no, I think it'll be good. We'll be solid.
Yeah, I'm trying to get myself into a little rhythm and a cadence and things like that. I hate reading from pages. Like I don't know, I feel like I stumble and I feel do better when I'm just kind of free flowing.
Yeah,
So I'm trying not to do it too scripted, but I
yeah,
want them all to follow some sort of structure. Keep
right,
them
right.
close. So
Yeah, just have a conversation. It's good.
and I release these in the morning. So if I say good morning, you understand why.
Yes,
I'm not drunk. So
yes,
it's not, I'm drinking milk. Yeah, you know,
it happens.
a little bit of White Russian. There you go. All right, man. Anonymous Badger. That must be you.
Of course.
I put Ohio State in old.
Like
I wasn't gonna guess at your
old
height and
fat.
weight. I'm
How about
like, I wasn't gonna guess your height and weight. I'm like, no, that's not nice.
there you go.
I've never met you, but you're
I
not. What
fixed
are
it.
you? About 6 foot?
God, no, I'm
No.
not. I'm nowhere
Okay.
close. I am
You sound taller.
5'6" on a good day.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
All
short.
right. Are you getting? Hopefully, you're coming to Canton this year if everything falls right.
Yes,
Or
yeah, I'll be
yeah.
coming to Canton this year. So
Hopefully, everything falls right, and we can. Who knows with this
yeah,
damn COVID thing?
yeah,
Jeez.
that's tough.
So,
But
all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. This is your daily draft report, daily dose of prospect information for the NFL draft, brought to you by Campus 2 Canton. I'm so excited to bring on a defensive player. This will be our first defensive player of many, but this is a guy I'd love to talk about. Prospect is Ahmad Sauce Gardner, the cornerback from Cincinnati, junior, 6'2", 185 pounds, although I've seen reports of him closer to 200. So I think he does look probably a little closer to 200. So hopefully. And my guest on to talk about Sauce is Shane Gravy Hallam. I don't know if gravy works for you, but from Ohio State University. I'm not going to call it the Ohio State, Shane. Sorry. Not going to do it, man. I refuse. How you doing, Shane?
I'm good. It's good to talk to you, Dwight. I mean, I love eating gravy, so I think that's a fine nickname for me. If Thanksgiving and Christmas are any indication.
Yeah, I have consumed a lot of gravy in the last month, so which is funny because I don't all year until now. So
that's it.
Like most Americans. All right, do a quick recruiting profile on Mr. Gardner. He was a 3-star out of Detroit, Michigan. Martin Luther King. Not very highly recruited. Didn't get many offers, and he ended up in Cincinnati. And since he's been in Cincinnati, I mean, the kid's been just a straight baller. You love to see the defensive stats. Right around 30, 40 tackles each season, 3 interceptions every year, including his freshman year. He actually had 2 returned for a touchdown, which is kind of impressive. But the kid's he's just one of the shutdown corners, one of the few that are in college football. He did win the 2021 AAC Defensive Player of the Year, and he was also an All-American in a final for the Jim Thorpe Award, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. I didn't have it wrote down, so that's it. The accolades. We're gonna dive right into this guy. All right, Shane, what traits and attributes does Sauce possess that you think will make him successful in the NFL, man?
I think the number one thing and why he's so highly rated is it's rare to see him get beat. Like, he is always in a good position to make a play on the ball. Even when guys are bigger than him, faster than him, more physical or more athletic than him, I have not seen in his 3 years Sauce Gardner get beat. He's never given up a touchdown catch in all 3 years that he's played college football.
I thought I read that.
Yeah. So, the playoff game against Alabama, I was waiting, right? Like, okay, this is
Definitely.
It. And I mean, anytime they passed toward his side, he was on John Mechie for most of the game. He was always in position. Even when, Mechie caught the ball, he was in position. So I think that's the key is, he's a very sticky coverage, smart, kind of fluid lower half player who, closes pretty well. And you can tell, this is what I like about corners, especially, is I think you can tell when they're film watchers. Not every position do I feel like I can tell that, but if you're able to anticipate the route that your receiver is going to run based on where they're lined up, based on the movement they make at the line of scrimmage after the snap, I mean, that seems to be what Gardner does every single play. Like he's kind of guessing correctly. He knows what the guy's going to do. It's kind of the old Deion Sanders thing of like, I know exactly what you're going to run before you run it. And that way he's always on them, whether it's inside, outside, double move. Like I can't recall this year seeing him bite, on a double move or, whiff on something. And to me, that's exceptional. That's something that's really hard with a cornerback prospect to watch. So, he's big enough at 6'2". As you said, I think I'm interested to see what he weighs in at. I think it's going to be in the 190s. He's can be physical at the line of scrimmage, really good jam corner. One of the areas he improved this season was tackling, especially, setting the edge against running backs on screens. That was something he was really good with, kind of closing. And I thought his closing speed got better. So there's a lot of areas where you just watch him and say, like, this is an NFL corner that can man cover up, that you hope can be on an island and, do what some of these top corners are doing. That's what he did in college football. So if he can do that in the NFL, I mean, that's a slam dunk, high-end cornerback for your team.
Right. You don't see too many college corners play press as much as he does. They're just not trusted. Even the best ones are not asked to do press very often, not as much as he is. And he's constantly in press, it felt like. And I love how aggressive he is, though. He's not afraid. He's got that mentality that you want from your top cornerback. Like he wants, the Darrelle Revis, the Dion, he wants to be the man. And he backs it up with his play. So is there anything not to like about him? Like, is there anything that worry you that might hurt him when he gets to the NFL?
I think the number one big worry is time speed. I don't think he's going to run a grade 40 time or maybe have the best drills, agility drills in general. Like there was a reason he was a 3-star recruit. He wasn't a super athlete, and he was playing at a low level of high school competition, was really good at what he did. But when you're not a high-end athlete, I think in high school he was, $165 or something. You're small, and so that's kind of what the question was. He didn't get much faster, so that's my big question. I think if he answers those questions at the combine, if he comes in and blows it up, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't expect that, then I think we're talking high-end cornerback. But when you have a player who doesn't necessarily have the athletic traits to go up against, a DK Metcalf, or go up against, some of these fast speed receivers, Jalen Waddle, like line up on that. I think that's a big question mark for him. So it's just about how corner is one of those spots where there's a lot of NFL teams think, you need the athletic traits. You need that in most schemes. And as we see teams kind of move away from the old cover 2, Tampa 2 scheme, where I think Ahmad Gardner would be exceptional. He could be a Rondé Barber type, in that scheme. Teams aren't really running that anymore. So now you need a guy who you've seen in man coverage play well in college. He's playing in the AAC. It's not the SEC. Though he's done well when he's matched against better competition. Is he fast enough? Is he athletic enough? I think that's kind of the big spot. He's also not a big play on the ball guy. He had 3 interceptions each of his 3 seasons. You talk about the freshman season, he returned 2 for touchdowns. The next 2 seasons, I don't think he barely returned interceptions at all. If he even caught them. So, I don't think you're going to get what Trevon Diggs is doing in Dallas. You're not going to get this guy that's making interceptions, that's taking chances. That's never been his game. He wants you to just not throw to his side. So I think that's a question mark, especially if we talk, if you talk IDP or you talk fantasy football, like Sauce Gardner could end up being one of those corners that could end up being really good in the NFL, but not going to put up any stats for you at all if that's the case.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I like him as an IDP asset. He's not the best tackler. I mean, that's definitely not something he does, super well. And I don't see him being that corner that's going to have, 50 tackles, or 5 interceptions, 7 interceptions. He's going to be a really good corner. But, yeah, the things that I saw are the same that you saw. The speed is one thing. You don't see him when he flips around. Sometimes he seems like he loses a little bit, and then he's not going to have the speed to catch up to the really fast receivers in the NFL. So that's one of the things we got to worry about. I think I read somewhere that they think if he times over a 4 or 5, he's, out of the first round. So which, yeah. So speaking of projections, I'm going to go through. I like using NFL Mock Draftable to kind of see where everybody is kind of putting him. And most people have him right around the middle of the first round. Philadelphia seems like a pretty common one. The Saints, I've seen him go mocked as high as 7 to New York. That was by NBC Sports the other day on the 10th. So I like watching to see where these people go. But a lot of them having them going to the Eagles in the middle, like around 15 or 16. I think the Eagles have a couple of them in there. So it makes a lot of sense. So
I think it's fair. I think you could go a little bit lower. Like I said, I think the combine will be big. If he runs much faster than expected, then we can start talking, top 12, probably 10 to 15 range. I think it's possible he goes 20 to 25. Right. Because I think a lot of teams won't have him on their boards, and the Eagles probably are one that will, but I think there's some teams that the scheme is just they're just not going to want to take him ultimately.
Right. Yeah. I think every team needs a corner, but I've read a lot about Sauce lately. He seems to be I've seen him as high as like cornerback 2, and I've seen him as low as like cornerback 7. So some people are just really timid on him. I don't think the NFL is going to be. A guy like him is always going to have a spot, and he's easily, at least a first round talent. So we'll see what he tests. So anything else to add about Sauce, man?
No, I think it's good. I have him as corner 3 right now in my rankings behind Derek Stingley and Andrew Booth. It's just the athletic factor. And I think if he proves that, he'll probably move up to cornerback 2 for me if he kind of matches the relative athletic score that I like to see for corners. So I'm intrigued. This is a big off season for him, I think, to prove what he's got.
I like Booth a lot. I don't scout corners a whole lot, so I like Booth a lot, though. He seems like he has a dog in him, so I kind of like that. So, Shane, can you tell everybody what you're working on and where they can find you on Twitter?
Absolutely. I work over at draftcountdown.com. We relaunched that, one of the longest standing draft sites on the internet. And you can see my full rankings for 2022, 2023, and 2024 NFL drafts. I also have mock drafts for each. I have a 7-round 2022, 7-round 2023, and a 3-round 2024 mock draft. You can find me on Twitter at Shane P. Hallam for all my other work. I do multiple podcasts, the Devy Marketplace with Kane Fassell, and also do the Draft Countdown podcast. So wherever you get your podcasts, look those 2 up. Yes,
very, very good ones. And the work that you do, Shane, is way over my head, man. the 7-round drafts are. And if anybody's in a league with Shane, he knows his stuff. He's in 2 of the deepest leagues I've ever seen in my life. Drafting 600-700 players deep, college players. Shane knows his stuff. If you have any questions, ask him anything. Shane's a good guy for all that. So, all right, you can find me on Twitter at FFPeoplesChant. You can find this podcast at. I just set it up today, so you think I'd remember it, but it's the Daily Draft PRT or something. I don't know. I'll tweet from it. They didn't have Daily Draft Report open, so I had to kind of get a little clever. You can find us there. So anyways, we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.